And hello again, everybody. Jeremy Hartley with you. And this short video is going to be part of the Mortal Kombat 1 accessibility tutorial series on the Xbox Series X. And specifically, we're going to talk about the Xbox controller. Again, this tutorial series is for beginners, and you may not know all of the little ins and outs of the Xbox controller, and it would be very imperative for you to know these things as we continue on, because when I talk about different things to press, you'll know what indeed to press. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up my Xbox controller here, and I've got it in my lap. And what we'll do is we'll talk about the Xbox controller starting from the back of the controller unit. I like to start at the back because there are a couple of groups of controls that appear the same on the left side and the right side. And so we're going to talk about going on the back end of the controller on the left. The first thing you're going to encounter is a left-hand trigger control, and this behaves very much like you would expect a trigger on, let's say, a spray bottle or something, or a gun to behave like. And so that's the left-hand trigger. Now above that, well, actually, I shouldn't say that. Okay, so the left-hand trigger is sometimes called in certain Xbox documentation as LT, or left trigger, or LT. So if you ever see that, that's what that means. Now above the left trigger, we've got another sort of button control, and that is called left bumper, and otherwise left bumper, or LB. Now there's a corresponding on the right hand side of the back end of the controller. We have a right hand trigger and a right hand bumper on the opposite side. So we've got left hand trigger, left bumper, right trigger, right bumper. Between those groups of controls on the back, we have the USB pairing button, which I've never actually had to use yet. It's always just paired magically to the Xbox, which is a good thing, very good thing. Now, a little bit below and to the right of the pairing button, we have our USB-C port, and I have that. Now I've got a USB-C cable plugged into my Xbox just so I don't blow the batteries of the controller. But you can use the controller either with batteries or with the port with a cable, the USB-C cable. All right, that's the back of the unit. That's pretty simple. The back is a pretty simple thing. Now we'll go up to the face of the controller, and that's where all the action is on the face of the controller. We've got our on the top part of the face, right in the middle on the top of the face, we have a circular button off by itself, and that is called the Nexus button. Some people call it the Xbox button, but it's you'll hear the Xbox call it the Nexus button when you're in the guide. So I guess we'll just call it the Nexus button, won't we? That's in the top middle of the face of the controller. It's sort of a circular button. Below that circular button, the Nexus button, we have a group of 3 buttons. The one on the far left of this group of 3 is View, and then sort of down below and to the right, we have another button in this group of 3, and it is Share, I believe it is. And then sort of to the right and going up a little bit in this group of 3, we have the Menu button. Now, on opposite sides of this group of 3, we have 2 thumbsticks. Thumbstick 1 and thumbstick 2, or thumbstick left and thumbstick right. And these move up and down, left, right, spin around. You can actually click them in the middle and they will also click like a button as well. And we've got one on the left side and one on the right side. And you use these controls for different things, and we'll talk about that in Mortal Kombat as we continue along. Now, between the thumbsticks and down below a little bit, and in between, we have another sort of four-way directional control called the directional pad, or the D-pad. It's kind of flat. It didn't used to be flat. In the old days, it was more of a cursor cross type thing. They've sort of flattened it out a little bit now. But this goes left, right, up, down, and you can even go up left, up right, down left, down right, sort of diagonal, I guess. So you can do that. This is the D-pad. Now, the only thing we haven't talked about on the face of the controller is another group of buttons on the sort of right-hand top of the face. It's a group of 4 buttons, and I left these till last because they're the buttons you're going to use quite often. But they go in a sort of a different order than you may be expecting if you've never used one of these controllers before. It is on the top, or actually, well, okay, yeah. On the top, the control is X and Y. The 2 buttons are labeled X and Y. And then below X and Y are A and B. So it's kind of, I don't know, some people would say it's reversed of what it should be. You'd think A and B would be on the top and X and Y would be on the bottom, but that's not how this works. It's X, Y on the top and A and B on the bottom. And we'll be using a lot of buttons in these X and Y and A and B throughout our Mortal Kombat journey. We'll be pressing the A button quite a lot. The A button usually is our sort of confirm or enter key if you're used to using a PC. A is the button you're gonna press if you want to confirm things for the most part. All right, that's the controller. We've got some stuff in the front, the very front of the controller. 2 things of note. We have a 1/8" headphone jack, and that's kind of cool. You can plug a pair of headphones in to the controller if you want. Then there's a sort of a elongated expansion port to the right of that, and that is for doing like a headset, a special stereo headset adapter. I'm not too familiar with what people can do with the expansion slot here, but I know people will use this sometimes for another headset adapter, a stereo headset adapter. But I'm not going to talk too much about that. But anyway, that's the controller. So hopefully that was a good enough explanation to get you started. And just for people that want another quick review, starting from the back of the controller, we have left trigger and then left bumper above that. And then we've got in between those sets of controls, we have our USB pairing button, and then our USB-C, or a Bluetooth pairing button, and then our USB-C cord adapter that we have, port that we have. And then past that, we have our our right trigger and our right bumper. My goodness, trying to keep all these things straight. It's harder than it seems. All right, then if we move to the face of the controller, we have our left thumbstick, and then we have our group of 3 buttons that goes view, and then share, and then menu. And then we have our right-hand thumbstick. And then to the right of all of that, we have our group of 4. On the top is X and Y, and on the bottom is A and B. And then, of course, down kind of below and to the left of our left-hand thumbstick, we have our D-pad. And our D-pad goes left, right, up, down, like you would expect. And then finally, in the very top middle portion of our face of the controller, we have our circular Nexus button, or Xbox button. So hopefully that will do you as far as the instructions go, hopefully that is going to help a great deal on when we talk about what buttons to press. You'll know kind of what to do. Um, all right. Well, until we meet again, Jeremy Hartley saying so long.